I want to ask this question just because I think people would want to know. So what, I don't know from whom's perspective. I mean, what is maybe the general view of Zelenskyy as president?
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe how are evangelicals in the country seeing the Zelenskyy presidency? Are they fully behind him 100%? Is there controversy? Like, where are we at there, politically speaking?
Yeah, I have a limited view of this, but I do ask my Ukrainians what they think of him. And I do know that he was very popular as a reformer in 2019 when he came on the stage. And so that Ukraine has always been kind of Western in its spirit. And he represented that. And so he was a fresh wave against kind of a corrupt, kind of orange, maybe a pink shadow over the country from red, that it was, that fleeing corruption and, extricating itself from that isn't something, it's a generational type of thing. You don't change that kind of stuff overnight. So he's a new step in this kind of in a freedom. The war, he has been popular in the war, and his popularity, even speaking recently, with the new administration here coming in quite belligerent, I would say, and pro-Putin. I think probably out of fatigue of funding foreign wars for the American government. They came down hard on Zelenskyy, and he kind of pushed back. And that made him popular because he was speaking the truth.
Truth to power.
Yes, about the atrocities of Putin. And Putin is not. And I think that's what we're getting. Our administration is getting schooled here in the last 6 months of who Putin is. What he says versus what he does. And now they're finally seeing this, and I think they're trying to put the screws on him in a way that will hurt in the most recent thing, in the last deadlines that he's got till in a few weeks. So Zelenskyy was very popular 6 months ago, but my sources now say that his population, the war is dragging on, and the population is weary. The Ukrainians, even the patriots of it, who for the longest time have said, this is the height of injustice, that we should have to give up territory because we're smaller than a bully. And they are looking now at negotiating the loss of 20% of their country.
Right.
Just because someone aggressively and with trumped up charges, false flags, et cetera, invades them. And so they're getting weary. Zelensky's continuing to hold the line until recently, I think mainly, of like no negotiating until you get out of our territory, including Crimea and stuff like that. That's kind of the hard line. I think the population is so weary that they would be willing to negotiate off of that or away from that. And so if he continues the hard line, he is, I think, gradually losing support just for the sake, let's just get this done and stop the aggression. So that's I think now I need to, steer the conversation how my evangelicals look at that. They have always had a suspicion of the state, even since the fall of communism, because the state represented Satan. And so collaborating with the state, they were strong Anabaptistic in the pacifistic type of mode about supporting war. And so they've been thinking through all of this with a new fervor since the war has broken out. But so there have been evangelicals that have achieved high stations in the recent years of the government. And so I think as the government loses its history with communism and corruption, there will be more work with evangelicals, more collaboration with evangelicals among the government. However, the government they are very suspicious. And my Ukrainian sources, evangelicals, they're suspicious even of Zelenskyy as someone who wants power, who takes retribution on his enemies, and might be a little bit in the dipping into the till himself. So they have some of that suspicion about him too, but they are very pro their people. And they are for their people, and they are against this war. That is univocal.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, it's obviously, it's different culturally because they're so used to the idea of the church and the state being joined at the hip, and the church being maybe even more fully corrupted by the state, used as a state mechanism than we are, right? Even though we've had maybe some examples of that in our own time, but it's far less than in former Soviet Union countries. So, I mean, one could see how you'd have that mindset for good reason, of being extra guarded against any governmental entity.
Long history of abuse from the church and state union.